Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidanandaruka, Shivoham, Shivoham, Manobodhyam Karachitaninam, Nacha Shrotra Jive, Nacha Gana Netre, Nacha Vyoma Bhumi, Natejo Navayu, Chidanandarupa, Shivoham, Shivoham, Chidanandarupa, Shivoham, Shivoham, Nachakana Sagno, Navakanchavayu, Navasabdadatu, Navakanchakosha, Navakani Pada, Nachakastapayu, Chidanandarupa, Shivoham, Shivoham.
A very good evening to all those joining us today. We are back on our Instagram live session with one of our special guests on a special topic, gratitude, a forgotten emotion. I am grateful to all of y'all who have taken your time out this evening to listen to this very important aspect of our life, which is gratitude. A week back, we had a guest, Mrs. Mangal Kardile, who spoke to us about depression, its symptoms, and also its causes. Dear friends, if you woke up this morning happy and healthier, aren't you blessed than the million who have died last night? Or if you have food to eat, clothes to wear, and a house to live in, you are much better than those who do not possess these. So don't you think each one of us should be thankful to simpler things in life? So to fill this void and broaden our perspective towards a healthier and happier life, we have with us today Mrs. Manisha Sanghavi, Executive Director of Sancheti Group. Ma'am has completed her MBA and also pursued a degree in psychotherapy and counseling. I am very grateful to you, ma'am, for joining us today and able to connect with us. I am also obliged to have an opportunity to be able to interview you. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you for having me over. Extremely grateful to you and to the viewers. Thank you.
So, to begin with the session, ma'am, I would firstly like to ask you, what does exactly wellness mean to you?
Ankita, wellness to me is extremely simple. To keep it very simple, I would say wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better health, better physical health, mental health. And this practice has to be on a day-to-day basis. You know, we have to have very healthy habits, not only for our physical body, but for our mental body, for our spirit. Yes. So all three aspects are very important: your physical health, your mind, and your spirit. And I think self-love is the best medicine which works on yourself. Taking care of your body, mind, and spirit is not selfish, but it is necessity today. And it has always been. Unless you love yourself, how can you love others, you know? So accepting what you are and loving everything about yourself is what I would call self-love, and accepting everything that you don't have and not feeling bad about it. So that's wellness too.
Okay. So, ma'am, lately we have seen a lot of people taking their lives due to depression. Be it a successful actor like Sushant Singh Rajput or a small town 20 or a 30-year-old teen. So, what do you think? Why is depression on the rise?
It bleeds my heart when I see people like Sushant Singh or students or youngsters or
Yes, ma'am.
anybody for that matter commit suicide, you know.
Yes.
And I was looking at data, and India is one of the topmost countries to have the highest suicide rate. Also, it's said that every 1 hour in India, a student loses his life. So, and Maharashtra tops the score, you know. So imagine the rate at what everybody's getting depressed in a hustle bustle of our everyday life, you know, not pre-COVID, I will say that life is not so hectic anymore.
Yes, ma'am.
To complete our task, you know, to go through the daily routine, our deadlines, we just forget to be thankful about. We just forget everything that we have is a blessing. As you said, that we woke up this morning and we are alive is a blessing.
Yes.
You know, we have a perfect body, impeccable body that God has given us. All our five senses are working. We can hear, we can talk, we can walk, we can see. All those
Yes.
senses are intact is a blessing, or that simple thing that we can smile is a blessing. I would say that we are breathing right now is also a blessing.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
everything for granted. As I see it, as the days are passing by and I see so many new generations, one of the most important reason I think that people have got everything too early, too soon, too many choices in life, too many options available to you. So
Yes.
it is more is less today. And when it was less, it was more. You look at the career options that a student wants to take, there are millions of options. Earlier, there
Yes.
was, you know, arts, science, commerce, medicine, engineering, and nothing beyond that. So the choices were
Yes,
less.
ma'am.
It was easier to choose. You go and go for a cup of coffee. There are n number of different coffees available. I grew up
Yes.
with only two coffees. One was filter
Yes,
coffee
ma'am.
at Besari and Nescafe. So,
Yes.
you know, there weren't so many choices. You look at a TV channel and there are n number of channels to choose from. I really don't know what to watch. And in the process, while flipping channels, I forget what would I like to watch. Or you go and buy some clothes. There are n number of brands available, so you
Yes.
don't know. If you go to a restaurant, there are so many options, and I think today the kids have it all, and somewhere I think the parents have to be blamed to a certain extent because we've given it all to our kids.
Hmm.
They have everything too soon in life, and they're not really, you know, struggling to get something. So everything is
Hmm.
easily available. There's nothing to
Exactly.
look forward to, and that
Yes.
gets into depression. Social
Hmm.
media, the screen time that people are spending, the marriage is not pre-COVID, I'm talking about. So it was more of an Insta wedding than how it's going to look on Instagram, how my photographs are going to
Yes.
look, than
Yes.
being present for your own wedding. So,
Yes.
you know, it's not being present at all, not feeling gratitude. To my mind, one of the biggest disability that we all have, who have all their five senses intact and still can't find a reason to be happy about, to feel gratitude about, and that's biggest disability. And these are the reasons why people are getting more and more depressed. We
Yes,
take
ma'am.
everything for granted, Ankita. And
Granted. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, right. Simple thing that your mother makes a cup of coffee to you, that is a you should feel gratitude about. Or you are able to make that one cup of tea for yourself, that you've woken up, your hands are working, you're breathing. That
Should be
itself is a
thankful.
gratitude.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Be
ma'am.
thankful for
So,
everything. Yes.
so according to you, how can we start practicing gratitude on a daily life?
We can start with as soon as you wake up, Ankita. My husband always tells me, take 5 minutes break. You know, don't start working immediately. So this practice that I've started very, very recently, that I really look at some affirmations and I say, thank you, God, for everything that I have.
Yes.
And I tell myself I'm going to have a wonderful day, and I'm not going to
Yes.
make non-issues into issues. You know, we are very conditioned to look at a lot of things in a certain way. I'm going to give you a very small two
Hmm.
stories which can explain what I'm
Hmm.
trying to say. So
Yes.
there's a professor and he gives his students, says that it's a surprise test today for you and get prepared. So everyone
Hmm.
says, okay, we are prepared to give a surprise test. And the professor gives each one of them a small paper, a sheet of
Okay.
paper with one black spot on it. And there's nothing written on that paper. And
Okay.
everybody gets that paper and they're wondering what to do with this paper. So professor says, you know what? all of you look at this sheet, and whatever you feel like writing, write and give it to me. So when people are writing about that black spot and how that paper is looking bad because of that one black spot, and everybody, each and every one of them, write about that black spot. So he starts reading everybody's answers and says, all of you looked at that black spot. Nobody wrote anything about the white paper. It was so clean. It was lovely. There were so many things that we can write on because it's a lovely paper. So that's how we look at life, Ankita. That we only look at what we don't have. We only look at what there is a problem. We don't look at the 100 things that we have. But that one thing, we want that we don't have, and you'll complain about. Oh, my husband should say this to me. He should say this to me. He should behave like this. Or expectation from others. These are the reasons. So we need to change our perspective. Keep a positive attitude. There's another small story, very interesting story. There is this little blind kid is sitting on the steps, and he has a board saying that I'm blind, please help me. And nobody's really putting any coins. He has just a few coins in his bowl. And there's this guy who walks and sees that, and he has in his pants, he gives to this kid, and takes a board and scribbles something and goes off. And such fun is coming into this bowl, and this kid is really surprised that what happened? How come people are helping me suddenly? And this guy comes back in the evening, and the blind kid recognizes him, with his footsteps. And he says, are you the one who wrote something on board in the morning? So he says, yeah. So he says, what did you write? So he says, kid, you wrote, I'm blind, help me. I just changed everything. I erased. And I wrote, it's a beautiful day and I can't see it. So everybody who walked on the street really felt gratitude. Oh, we have eyes. We can see this beautiful day.
Yes.
And hence felt, that gratitude and felt like helping that little kid. So we need to change the perspective. Just by two lines, this guy had changed the perspective of everybody. So that's really wonderful. And these days, what happened, I think all of us, not just the youngsters, have this FOMO, fear of missing out. We all want to do everything. You go for a vacation, you have a list of sightseeing, you have a restaurant where you get the best coffee, you have a restaurant where you get the best drink and a pizza. And the sunset over here is gorgeous. So you want to do all those things and it's not possible. So when it's not possible, you feel that I've missed out on something. And, just not to miss out anything in life, you are running around helter-skelter and losing the fun of being in the present. So, जिस जगह हो, जहाँ भी हो, जो भी है, उसका मजा क्यों नहीं लेते हैं हम लोग? So, that's really, we all have to drop this FOMO, fear of missing out. I heard Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, saying something very nice. We all know that she lost her husband at the age of 40 and 2 kids, and she was going through bad times. And she was addressing some of the students at some graduation, and she says, I was going through a lot of depression, and a friend of hers, psychologist, said, Cheryl, why don't you look at things in a better way? Things could have been worse. So she says, have you lost it? How can any be better? I've lost my husband. Here I am with 2 kids, a widow. I don't know where to go from here. And how can you? So the psychiatric friend of hers says that what if your husband had a heart attack and the kids were in the car with him? So she says, I just felt immense gratitude. Thank God my kids were not there. So again, it's a question of perspective. We all need to change our perspective. We have to count our blessings at every moment. And if you, including me, I don't remember when I start focusing on negativity, I start focusing on problems. I have a board in my office which says, be thankful that you have this, or keep a note which reminds you all things. I think we are too much caught up with calories, the steps that we've climbed, that money we have earned. But let's focus on and let's really start counting our blessings.
Yes, ma'am. Great. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, do you think women are taken for granted in terms of gratitude and appreciation?
Well, that's a loaded question. Yes, I think so. But times are changing, Ankita. Times are changing.
Yeah.
The younger generation is more brought up to help your spouse.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yes, appreciation is one of the basic need of a human being. We all like to be appreciated, and
Hmm.
the same thing goes with somebody else. And I think gratitude is the mother of all the emotions. I think it's the most powerful emotion. So if you have a mother at home, we really take our mothers for granted, that she's supposed to do, she's supposed to provide, she's supposed to work.
Yes.
And in the
Yes.
process, especially, I would love to say this to most of the women, that, stop being a perfect woman. You can't. If you are really trying to
Yes.
be a super mom or super woman, you are headed for a disaster, let me tell you. Because the minute you're trying to be a super woman, you're compromising on yourself, or you're compromising on your time with self, or you're compromising on a lot of things that you would like to do for yourself,
Yes.
because you're focusing on your children, your family, your work, and helping
Yeah.
your friends, like that.
Yes.
So naturally, all of us have limited time. We all have 24 hours, and we have. So don't try to do too many things. Don't try to be a superwoman. It's okay to not to be perfect at all
Not to.
the time.
Yes.
It's okay. If I am very
Yes.
good in cooking, it's fine. But I don't clean my house as much as my friend cleans up. It's okay. If you can't provide three dishes on the table for dinner, it's okay. Your family has to understand. Maybe you can have a salad and a soup, and that's okay to have a dinner. You don't have to put many things on the table.
Yes.
Also, I think, Ankita, if we, most successful women, according to me, are the ones who have taken help from their friends, family, and looked at contribution. And it's my famous line that I always say, that when women move their focus from competition to contribution, life
Yes.
becomes celebration. So at
Yes.
work also, we have 80% of us are women, Ankita. And I'm very proud to say that we all, it's not me who's done this, but it's all of us together have managed to contribute with, to each other. We complement each other. So nobody says, I have done this, it's we have done this, So we have to change our focus again from I to we. We have to change our focus, especially women, I would like to say, who are lovely homemakers, suddenly go through this emptiness syndrome, And so many of
Yes.
my friends, I'm saying 50 plus, who are going through bad times, depression, anxiety, mainly because their focus was only kids. Their focus was, the entire day revolved around making a beautiful home, providing for kids, and looking after their schedules and managing. And suddenly the kids have gone away to study, or they've got a job outside, and the nest is empty.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is the time a woman feels, what have I done? What have I achieved? And especially if they don't get a call from anyone, if from the kids saying that, how are you, mom? How are you doing? Oh, itni bhi yaad nahi aati hai. How much they've
That is,
taken me. So that's a very
yes.
miserable feeling. But at this time,
Yes,
I want to
ma'am.
remind all my women friends, and that's how I have been looking at it. It's a nice story. Somebody had, obviously it is about Buddha and his wife Yashodhara. I would like to tell you over here that Buddha, we all know Buddha left his wife and a kid the day his
Yes. Yes.
little fellow was born. In the middle of the night, he left, and Yashodhara, his wife, was, devastated, and she didn't know what to
Hmm.
do. And then she decided that I'm going to focus on this, my little fellow. I'm going to make sure that he grows up to be the man that people would like to follow. And she gives
Hmm.
all her energy to this little fellow. And one fine day, after many years, Buddha returns home, and she can hardly recognize him. And she says, so they call you Buddha, huh? So Yashodhara asks Buddha. So he says, yes.
Yes.
So he says, so Yashodhara asks him, what does it mean? So he says, the one who's enlightened, who's got
Yes.
self-realization, that's what Buddha, they say. Very calm and composed as Buddha was. And then Yashodhara says, everybody will follow your learnings, what you learned in so many years, but nobody will be able to know my story. So Buddha says, what is your story? So Yashodhara says, that courageous woman doesn't need anybody to complete her. She's complete by her
Correct.
own. And it's
Yeah.
such a powerful statement that why do we look at somebody's appreciation? Somebody should say that you're good, you're perfect. Why do we need these things?
Why
You
do
know,
we
we
need it?
are
Yes.
complete. And unless you really believe that you're complete and you don't need, and you'll see the entire thing in your mind will change. You won't look at outside for appreciation, for acknowledgement. And that is one of the reasons that मैंने इतना कुछ family को के लिए किया, but nobody bothers about me, you know. So that whole perspective
Exactly.
changes. And that's what I would like, that, you know, start appreciating yourself. Start tell yourself, oh, मैंने कितना अच्छे family को, I looked after my family very well. I looked after my kids very well. Give that certificate to yourself. You don't need it from
Yes.
anybody else.
Rather,
And that's
yes.
what I would like to tell my women friends. Yes.
All right, ma'am. So, what are the steps that Sanghavi Healthcare Academy has taken up to cope up for one's mental illness?
Yeah, so Ankita, mental illness has been on rise for last quite a few years. And, you know, to give better treatment to our patients, you know, to make them physically fit and mentally and emotionally stable, we were looking around for different things. And that's when we came across many creative art therapies which help mental health. And that's when Sanghavi Healthcare Academy launched our Dance Movement Therapy International program, one of its kinds in the country. Of course, there are DNT programs available, but this is the first international certification programs. Then we went through a lot of creative art therapies like dance, drama, sculpture, I mean, music, art. All these are as good as our scriptures, but have very little value in the scientific world, in the healthcare, you know. So we decided, why not explore all these creative art therapies? And that's how we started looking around for creative art therapies. And to our surprise, that there were so many people who were doing different things, different creative art therapies, selfless work that they were doing just to make somebody else's life better. And that prompted us to start Creative Art Therapy Awards. So in fact, we launched Creative Art Therapy Awards in 2 years back. And we have started as a therapy, all these creative art therapies. In fact, every Saturday we'll be taking, I'm sure you know that, and we'll be announcing the different art therapies.
Yes,
also, I think we need support in schools. We need support groups in school. We need mentorship in schools. So at SHA, for our physiotherapy students, we have mentorship. We have support groups where you can come and ask and talk to your teachers. You know, there is a very nice club we have started. In fact, it will be launched in August by Dr. Apurva Shimpi. It's called Talk to Me. So there will be specific time which will be given with students and teachers to, you know, interact if they have any issues or they have any problems, to talk about them. So there's a lot of work to be done. It's just the beginning, Ankita. We have a long way to go, but I'm sure we'll come up with a lot of different things, different ideas, different therapies for people, for patients.
Yes, ma'am. So, what advice would you like to give to our viewers today?
Okay, so what advice? And we just talked about gratitude. So, you know, feel gratitude. There's this very nice analogy that I like. You know, there's a person who's sitting with a cup of coffee and somebody bumps into that person and the coffee is spilled. So you'll ask that, you know, what happened? Why did you spill the coffee? So you will say, someone bumped into me. But that's a wrong answer. That coffee was spilled because there was coffee in it, right? In the cup. If you had tea in that cup, tea would be spilled. Or you had water, water would spill. You know, so what is in your cup? That is going to come out. So we have to look at, you know, anger, bitterness, harsh words, our reactions, all that in a, you know, we have to delete all that. So our cup is not filled with that. Our cup is in fact filled with gratitude, forgiveness, our joy, our affirmation, our greatness, what people are helping us, inspiration that we've got. Our cup should completely filled with that, you know. So I would really hope that all of us, you know, our cup is filled with gratitude. You know, only problems happen to all of us automatically, but happiness is the choice that we should make. Hatred happens automatically, but to love is the choice that we have to make for
Yes.
ourselves. Being negative happens automatically, but to have that positive attitude is very, very
Yes.
important. Complaining is automatic, but gratitude is the choice that we all have to make. So let's
Yes.
choose to look at gratitude. Let's, if you haven't called, another thing I feel that the most expensive real estate in the world, where is it? So I
Hmm.
ask a lot of people that, and they say New York, Bombay. So I say no. The most expensive real estate is when you make somebody, you let that someone
Yes.
stay in your mind for all
Yes.
these years because you had grudges, you had some dispute with that person, or you've had a fight, and you let that person stay in your mind for all these years, and hatred and grudges that you're carrying, that person is staying in your mind free of cost, causing you a lot of trouble. So just release that hatred, just release that,
Yes. Let
trouble
go.
that you let go,
Yes, ma'am.
exactly. So that's the advice that I would like to give. I would like to end our conversation with saying that at least tonight, if I have you felt good listening to me, at least one thing I want you all to do: call up that someone you haven't called, call up that someone you haven't got in touch, and tell someone that you really love that person but you haven't expressed. Feeling
Yes.
gratitude and then not expressing it is like having a present but not gifting it. So just please
Yes.
express your gratitude, tell that person you love that person, and have a lovely, lovely life ahead. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So I think we basically forget to think that every cloud has a silver lining.
Yes.
So a big thank you to you, ma'am, for this enlightening session today. And
Yes.
I think at the end of the talk, we have certainly learned that we should be thankful for what we have rather than concentrating on the viewers' perspective towards life. And we are also eagerly looking forward for the creative art therapy live sessions, which will begin from next week. And I also
Yes.
thank our viewers for their time, for the valuable time and support that they have given us. And I would wish everyone a very good night and also take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ankita, for having me. Bye. Have a
Thank you,
good
ma'am.
evening.
Take care,
Bye bye.
ma'am. Yes.
Leave the session. End the session.